detach from what we were taught versus what is healthy for us. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the time, what's taught doesn't amount to what's healthy for us. And it's like, fuck, man, I gotta unlearn this toxic bullshit. I gotta unlearn all these things that was given to me that I didn't put there.
Roll me Mac.
So, what do you think is stronger, your addictions or your purpose? There are days where I go back and forth on which is stronger. I believe that my addictions, some days, win the battle. They don't win the war because the war is still going on right now. But I do believe that the addictions can win the battle at times. As for my purpose, staying in it, there are days where, or times rather, where I tend to get distracted. I tend to my inner child seems to want to take the driver's seat and say, fuck what your purpose is. I want to go back and redeem all those wounds that weren't handled when I was a kid. And there are times where I do get lost. I get lost in myself. I get lost in the world. I get lost in many things that this world can offer. Distractions. I want to say one of my favorite lines from the movie All Eyes on Me. Tupac, his mom says, they're going to give you the tools you need to destroy yourself. And I can say that when you're working on your purpose, there will be a lot of things that will attempt to destroy you in many ways. Not just, like the obvious, drugs or, you know what I mean? It's like conversations, trying to defend your ego against people who don't even, who are people who you don't need validation from. And it's not you fighting. It's just your inner child trying to fight battles that don't need to be won anymore. Like there's nothing to prove. But for whatever reason, sometimes when, your past can haunt you. It can haunt you and have you wanting to right wrongs from childhood. It wants you to show that you're not like that same person that you were. And you're not the same person that you were, so you don't even have to defend it. The person that you are today, in most cases, doesn't have to defend stuff from the past. I mean, that was a time for that. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not 5, you're not 10, you're not 15 anymore. Long past that. So those battles that go on inside the mind can sometimes cloud your judgment, cloud decision-making skills, cloud your insecurities even, you know what I mean? And but when you recognize that shit, it's a thing of beauty for me because I'm able to see how human I am when my ego wants to convince me that I am perfect, that I am not flawed, that I'm not flawed, that I don't make mistakes, that I'm not able to make mistakes. If I make a mistake, then, love will be removed. That, the typical inner child battles that go on for some of us, But the stronger between the two, I would have to say right now, at this juncture in my life, my purpose be for the simple fact that I'm willing to let go of any and everything if it means making sure that my purpose gets done. And it's been proven, you know what I'm saying? Like it's been proven for me with that. Like I'm being this focused, but there are days, man, where addiction is strong, man. It's so fucking strong. And you just you just have to deal with it. Sometimes a relapse, you know what I mean? But that makes me just like anybody watching this clip. You feel me? Because we do struggle. We struggle with a lot of things. We struggle, the ego loves to play that game with you that you have to be something in order to be this. You know what I'm saying? Like it's never enough. You'll never be enough for your own ego, and sometimes other people's egos too. But like you'll never be enough for your ego, and it's helpful when it comes to maybe like work or being like I would say like somebody like myself that's trying to build something in hopes that it's to meet the ultimate goal of creating a successful business. You know what I'm saying? So there are days where your ego has its positives, and it definitely has its negatives if you don't manage it well. But I believe that's with anything. If you don't manage, you know what I'm saying, like the food that you eat, your ass get tubby. You get tubs. You know what I'm saying? If you don't manage the candy that you eat, you might lose teeth. Leon Spinks, or you know what I'm saying, you might just lose these gums. Teeth isn't be nothing but gums. Moderation, right? Moderation, not just for addictions, right? Well, I mean, if you can go cold turkey, great, because that dopamine is strong in the brain, and the brain wants what it wants. When you've trained it for so long, this is where we get our happy chemicals from. This is how we escape. This is how we get away from the world. This is how we deal with the fact that we're not good enough. This is how we don't have to worry about feeling, by getting that feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like we're chasing the first high, if you will, and we'll never get that first high back. But we're stubborn, and it doesn't stop us from trying to go back and get that first high. So that's why addictions reign free. So it's like trying to learn to go towards the fire in life and facing whatever it is that keeps resurfacing in our lives in different packages. We keep taking the same test until we pass it. And there are days where I sit back and I'm like, damn, why do I feel like I'm back in Suffolk, or I'm back in Salisbury, and I'm this kid dealing with traumas and triggers right now, but I'm not even there. I'm not even that kid, but the body doesn't forget anything. The body remembers everything. The body keeps score. It's actually a great read too. It's a good book called The Body Keeps Score. You guys can Amazon and Google and all that shit. It might even be on YouTube. Shit, somebody might have put the audiobook up there, but it's called The Body Keeps Score. I've read all of maybe the preface of the book, but I understand the concept, and it's on the list. It's on that 100-book list that I have the waiting list to read. But I mean, the title itself says it all, really. The body keeps score. So it's learning to defeat yourself is how you win this game. Battling yourself is tough, man. It's never about anybody else. It's really just you and how you feel about yourself. Sometimes, like when you're raised to believe that you're responsible for, for somebody or your parents' emotions, if you had that type of raising, then you tend to grow up thinking that you're responsible for everybody. And then you treat people that way, and then they become accustomed to it. And then they tend to get pretty pissed off at times when you're not doing the things that you've been doing. And how can you blame somebody for that? Because again, it's all on you. You trained them that you don't have certain boundaries, that you're going to be available at a moment's notice. But you too are human, and you too go through shit, and you too can deal with your own fucking issues. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be there for everyone. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to do that. That's that ego trying to creep in to prove yourself. And, like I said, sometimes, man, those addictions, and my addictions is more than just like sex or, you know what I'm saying, and shit like that, or anything related, alcohol related, drug related. My addiction is the sometimes the need to just be there. You know what I'm saying? To feel wanted, desired, seen, heard. You know, typical shit that we've done since we were kids, wanted to be seen, heard, and loved. And you don't catch yourself until it's like, fuck, man, I don't have to keep. This shit is never full. You know what I'm saying? It's like empty calories. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't realize the damage it's doing because you're not getting full off of it. You're never full. You're never satisfied. And you believe that it's your duty. 1 billion people in the world, and you believe it's your job to save all the ones around you. How much can your ego fuck with you in that moment when you really believe that you're responsible for every damn body around you? And who are they responsible for? You know what I'm saying? Like, we're falling into some codependency shit and don't even realize it until you're able to detach, sit back, and assess, you know what I'm saying, like the situation. And it's okay, you know, like it's commonly, it's not us driving, not adult us, present day us driving that car. It's us from the past that was living in toxicity without even knowing it. And we keep trying to recreate the nest when we're out in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it was so normal to us. It's so normal for us to create toxicity again and look at ourselves like, damn, bro, how come, you know, all of my relationships, friendships tend to be one-sided? Or how come everyone tends to want to just pull everything from me? You know what I mean? And you just keep showing up for them. Well, when you going to show up for you is the question. When are you going to treat yourself the way that you treat everybody else, man? That would be something for you to just, at a moment's notice, to be there for yourself and say, fuck everybody else, y'all grown. I mean, if you got kids, you get what the fuck I'm saying. But, like, for you grown motherfuckers, you got to take care of your own shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're projecting your shit onto somebody else is draining as fuck. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. You might be used to that. You might have been raised where your parents did everything for you. Or you might have been raised where your parents did nothing for you, and now you want everybody to do shit for you because you felt like you did it all when you was younger. I get it. You know what I'm saying? But that, yeah, I don't want to do that shit no more. You know what I mean? It's draining. After you've been there for everybody else and you're drained and then you need somebody, guess what? Nobody's there for you. Doesn't feel like it. You know what I'm saying? Like somehow something comes up because they know how to put themselves first. And then you feel some type of way because they put themselves first because you were taught to put everybody else first. It's funny how that ego works. Funny how that brain works and how you get trained for that shit. And you have to assess. I believe you gotta assess. Well, I recommend. Right, you don't have to do shit, but I recommend that you take a step back, detach. Right, detach from what we were taught versus what is healthy for us. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the time, what's taught doesn't amount to what's healthy for us. And it's like, fuck, man, I gotta unlearn this toxic bullshit. I gotta unlearn all these things that was given to me that I didn't put there. The stuff that was planted. You know what I'm saying? So in this battle between addiction and purpose, I know for sure, I would say what's stronger to me is my purpose. Because when all else fails, you best believe I'm going to choose me and my purpose, and live, and I'll have to live with the consequences. That's really what I do now. I'll live with the consequences. I'll have to deal with the backlash. I'll deal with the criticism. I'll deal with whatever, anybody coming up with stuff. But having a vision, it's your vision. It's not theirs. So you have to protect it. You have to protect it. You have to be willing to do essentially any and everything for it, because that's it's literally your life's purpose, especially for men. You know what I'm saying? You're lost without a purpose. So it's like being able, one, to find your purpose, and then to work toward it, live in it, It's something to be grateful for. And I'm grateful that I was able to find mine. I'm not worried about the financial aspect of it. I understand what God in the universe has allowed me to do, and using me as a vessel to speak to myself, number one, so I can heal, but also allowing others to heal from the shit that I share. And if you choose to use it, I mean, it's not a right or wrong thing. It's just perspective. So, like, maybe it works for you, maybe it doesn't. But I know for damn certain, like, I've been able to manage a lot of the hell that I created in my mind thanks to the knowledge that I've been able to accumulate over the last few years. So I'm just grateful for that. So with that being said, which is stronger, my addictions or my purpose? Purpose.
Hey, what up, everybody? Yeah, do me a favor real quick. Just hit like, subscribe, and of course comment if you have anything, obviously to mention about the show.
What voices play in your head when triggered? Mostly the negative ones. That's stating the obvious, right? But like, what plays in my head when I get triggered? First, it's like you can't fight back. Number one, you got to take this shit, or I'm going to remove love from you. You're not enough. You ain't worth shit. Like a lot of the bad parts of the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Like equivalent goes on in the mind. And then you add the PTSD from childhood, and then you add the PTSD from being in the military, and then PTSD from just being in toxic relationships, man. It's real. It's interesting. It's interesting, and I imagine that others can relate to those things that go on in the mind when you feel triggered, when you feel like, shit, man, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing right now. Part of you you're not sure what you're doing, so insecurity dwells. You want to run for cover. You want to run like fuck the other way, because that tends to save you, fight, flight, or freeze, and all that stuff. So flight, it's just Forrest Gump in the mind, you know what I'm saying? Like when he's like just running with the braces on his damn legs. That to me is the thing, especially if you ever had to go through something traumatizing alone, right? And you cried for help in various ways and did not feel like you had that help, especially from ones you thought that would be helpful. It's traumatizing. It's traumatizing as fuck. It definitely puts you in a position where it's like, all right, I gotta figure out how to do this shit on my own. I don't need your help, because when I asked for it, you were reluctant to do so. And but truth be told, you owe yourself more than anybody else. The thing is, it's like these things happen when we were children. You know what I'm saying? And when you're a child and you're dealing with that type of pain, yeah, when you're a kid, it's mad traumatizing, man. To go through something alone, and you just shut everybody out. Truth be told, you didn't feel heard. You felt dismissed, right? So if life teaches you anything, once you've been dismissed and once you felt like a bother to someone, never bother them again. Like, you showed me enough, you know what I mean? And that's all I needed. But life has also shown me how strong I am for not having that in me. It taught me to live life without it. And once you're able to do that, there's so much power that comes with it. Now, there's going to be a pissed off part of your inner child that wants to be picked up, that wants to be recognized by these particular people in your life. But you got to understand that just because you're healing doesn't mean they are. They're okay. They don't even, I believe the ones that you were traumatized by, or, you know what I'm saying, or triggered by, they don't even believe that they did anything wrong. You know what I'm saying? And again, it goes back to perspective, right? So it's like the dismiss is more like, man, toughen up type thing. You know what I'm saying? And especially as a man, like once you recognize, once you say to a man that he's got to toughen up, you know what I'm saying? And you're like, quit crying like a bitch. That's exactly how that's what he's going to remember the next time he wants to open up. When you try to open up to someone and confide in them, and then they use that shit against you, you'll never get the same nigga again. I don't give a fuck who it is. That nigga will never be the same again. And yeah, he very well may shut out the world, if you will. I went through a little bit of that throughout my life, man. And I had certain personalities around me that definitely didn't warrant to know that information. Something I would learn later on, and because it was used against me. And you know what I'm saying? Like you grow to create something that can be respected, right? And once you're able to build something that can be respected, then you can share some sense of vulnerability. I believe that's what I attempt to do here on this platform, is to share vulnerability from that of a masculine man this time, not the one that was just crying to be picked up and he big as shit. You know what I'm saying? But somebody that is able to articulate how to express one's emotions without being emotional. And because it's very key, it's very important. And as far as like how people respond to you on it. So like, the voices in my head, yeah, they're really, like I said, the negative ones, you're not able to do this. You might as well go ahead and end it, because no one cares about you. No one sees you. All these things that the inner child just repeats to itself all the time. And there are days where, there used to be a lot of days where I would listen. And then I was taught a very neat trick by one of the gurus in spirituality, Osho, or Osho, however you pronounce this shit. He's like, to kill the ego, you have to laugh at the ego. So when you find yourself beating yourself up and that you're not enough, it's important to remember that you are fine just the way you are, right then and there. You gotta love yourself unconditionally. You are not incomplete. You are not broken. You are fine just the way that you are. And sometimes we can forget that shit. The inner child takes over. You have a pity party. Woe is me. I'm not enough. Nothing I do is ever good enough. And you believe that bullshit, but it's just thoughts. You know what I'm saying? You gotta learn to detach that shit. Don't say I am not good enough. Say I feel like I'm not good enough. Therefore, it's not you. You know what I'm saying? Like you are, like I am is a very powerful statement. You know what I'm saying? A pre-statement. Whatever you say after I am, cast a spell. You know what I'm saying? So be very, very mindful of what you say after you say I am. And I am confident. You know what I'm saying? I'm spiritual. I am vulnerable. I am masculine. I am, wonderful. I am worthy. I am wise. My mantra, those things that I say to myself throughout the day that kind of gets me out of that mode when I just want to crawl in a fucking hole and imposter syndrome hits and you feel like you're not worthy of the things that you've actually worked for and earned. You know what I mean? That makes you human. And sometimes you can become more than human. And when you do that, that's where you fuck up. It's like the ego. The ego has a way of like making you believe that you are, you know, more than human, and you feel like you're on top of the world, or you feel like the world's on top of you, and you use that shit to your advantage or disadvantage, depending on what you tell yourself in your head. But you gotta change. I go again, telling y'all what the fuck to do. I recommend that you change the voice in your mind. That's how you watch how you speak to yourself. Don't use the word against you. Don't use the word in a negative way. That's what is that? Agreement number one. You know what I'm saying? Don't use the word against you. All right. So what? Yeah. Yeah. Don't use the word against you. The voices in my head say some of the things I would never tell anybody else to do. So it's like learning to become your own best friend and love yourself unconditionally. So continue to do my best, changing that voice that's in the mind. Keep moving forward. What do you think is the secret of a good life? Because to me, the secret of a good life, perspective based, is to be grateful, right? Remember all the things that you have instead of focusing on what you don't. And I don't care what, I mean, success is really depending on, it's subjective, right? Earl Nightingale's quote is that success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So if you set out to be a teacher and you become a teacher, you're a success. If you set out to be a mother and, you know what I'm saying, and have a family, you're a success. If you set out to be an airfield manager, or if you set out to be an air traffic controller, or what have you, you know, the career fields that I'm in, then you're a success. It's like learning to be grateful for all that you have, man, like so many things. And but that ego's never satisfied. It never is. It's never satisfied. So it'll convince you that you don't have enough. There's always something else after that. And if you've ever been raised and you believe that you weren't enough, you know what I'm saying? Of course, nothing's ever going to be enough. Keep trying to build. But I was sharing with a friend of mine this week that same ability to constantly try to work for the next thing and become a perfectionist and all that, that's made us who we are. Like everything that we went through, the neglect from, you know, some aspects of parenting, neglect from maybe your family, the neglect from whatever, you know what I'm saying? Your own neglect for that matter, you neglecting yourself the way that you did and telling yourself you ain't shit pushed you to become where you are right now. You know, so it's like you got to take the good with the bad with that and embrace that shit. It's all a part of it. Whether you did it from a negative standpoint or whether you did it from a positive standpoint. Apparently the negative, you're more influenced and you know, get a spark from negativity sometimes to get things done than it is to say something positive. Because you think about a lot of people who never got that validation from their parents, they have gone on to do, like the ones that got motivated by it, because you can go one or two ways. You can wallow in your sorrows, or you can be like, I'm going to be the best everything. I'm going to shoot for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to learn as much as I can. I'm going to be the best whatever I am. You know what I mean? And and or you can like. So I've been on both sides where I've wallowed and just waited for somebody to come save me, and I've also been the one that was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to show everybody, and then they'll love me, because it's all about love. Everything we do is for love, man. I don't know, the hardest nigga is doing it for love in some way, shape, or form. He's doing it to be seen, heard, and loved. And it's like recognizing when the inner child is driving, and when the adult is driving. Sometimes you gotta tell your inner child to sit the fuck in the back in that baby seat and let me take the wheel. Because what happens when you let a child drive a car? It go anywhere, you know what I'm saying? They're not equipped with the knowledge to manage the road ahead, you know what I mean? But the adult in you understands how the road works and knows the signs, recognizes the signs, and they're able to cruise a little bit better than what that of a child may be able to do. You know what I mean? And it's, metaphors like that kind of help me weather the storm, if you will, in life. And it's it can be tough, you know what I'm saying? It can be tough, it can be challenging, but don't cry to quit, cry to keep going. You'd be surprised what you've been able to make it through if you can just go through it, And it's scary, it can be scary at times, fearful because you believe that you're not able to do it, but you really be surprised what you're able to do once you have to do it. I mean, think about all of us, I'm sure. Hell, let's give credit to mothers who were not ready to be mothers, that had to bear children, actually push them out or carry them for 9 months. You weren't sure that you were gonna be, an effective mother, because, a good mother is all subjective, right? You can do everything for a child and somehow be told that that mom ain't shit. You can do your best as a father and be told that, man, my daddy ain't shit. My daddy wasn't there for me and all that stuff. So it's important to know who you are, so that you don't get caught up in what even your own kids say, because you don't know what they were pissed about, when they said this shit. And that's something to detach yourself from. Like, if you hold on to the identity, I'm a good mother, I'm a good father, you're gonna do anything to try to defend that shit. Just don't have an identity, just be. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Let people talk. Nothing they say is about you. It's just, sometimes you gotta learn to have alligator skin. We all do, man. And yeah. So, I say all that to say that the secret of a good life is just being grateful, man. Being grateful for all that you have, life itself, man, and like living life as if you didn't know you were going to wake up tomorrow. Would that's the same stuff that you've been thinking about, been dreading, would it matter? And because you don't carry yourself as if you have more time. A lot of us thought we had a lot of time with a lot of people who are no longer with us. You know what I'm saying? And we think we got all the time in the world, and we think that death ain't coming for us. Like we getting out of this bitch alive. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna come for us all at some point in time. But like, why be afraid to live while we're here? You know what I'm saying? Like, learn to just live in the present is ideal. Learning how to live, maybe for the first time, maybe to live again, whatever it is, man. Just staying with it. But that's my thought on what's the secret to a good life. Yeah, well, what do you guys think? Truthfully, like, what do you guys think is the secret of a good life? Share in the comments. I'm out.